Why did the Industrial Revolution change the world? Have you ever wondered how the world you live in came to be? The cities filled with lights, the trains that race across continents, the factories that hum day and night, and the machines that power our everyday lives. None of these things just appeared. They were born from a single monumental shift in human history, the Industrial Revolution. And though it began over 2 centuries ago, its echoes still shape every corner of our world today. But to understand how deeply it changed us, we have to step back to a time before engines, before mass production, before electricity, when the world moved slowly and life was tied closely to the land. For thousands of years, people lived and worked in small rural communities. Most made their living from farming. They planted by hand, harvested with sickles, and wove cloth in their homes. Life was hard, repetitive, and often short. Knowledge spread slowly, and goods were made one at a time by skilled hands. But change was coming, not in a burst of thunder, but in a quiet spark, invented in workshops, whispered in experiments, and tested in the sweat of labourers. That change began in Britain in the late 1700s. Why there? Because it had just the right mix. A growing population, vast coal and iron resources, a stable government, a thriving empire, and a culture hungry for innovation. As these ingredients came together, they created a perfect storm of invention and ambition. And at the heart of it all was the machine. It began with textiles. Before factories, spinning and weaving were slow, done by hand or foot. But with inventions like the spinning jenny, the water frame, and later the power loom, cloth could be made faster than ever before. Soon, machines didn't just assist humans, they replaced them. Production shifted from cottages to factories, and towns grew around them. This was no longer just work, it was industry. And the engine of this new world? Coal. Beneath Britain's hills lay black rock that burned hot and long, fueling steam engines that powered everything, from looms to locomotives. James Watt's improvements to the steam engine turned it into the heartbeat of a new era. Suddenly, goods could be produced faster, cheaper, and in greater quantity. But not just goods. People too were moving. The countryside emptied as the families flooded into growing cities in search of work. London, Manchester, Birmingham. They swelled with people, with hope, with smoke. However, with growth came pain. Factories were loud, dangerous, and relentless. Workers, including children, labored long hours in poor conditions. Cities became crowded, polluted, and disease-ridden. And yet, even in that darkness, the world was transforming. Ideas began to spread of workers' rights, of public health, of social reform. The Industrial Revolution didn't just change machines, it changed minds. It also redrew the map of the world. As industrial powers grew richer, they reached outward, colonizing, trading, conquering. Railroads cut through jungles, telegraphs crossed oceans. Global empires rose, powered by steel and steam. And while many prospered, others were exploited. Entire region reshaped, not for their people, but for industrial gain. At the same time, inventions kept coming. The electric light, the telephone, the internal combustion engine. Each decade brought another leap forward, another thread in the fabric of modern life. And it wasn't just how we worked, it was how we lived. Mass production made goods affordable. Medicine advanced, education expanded, life expectancy grew. For the first time, the average person could dream not just of survival, but of progress. And yet, that progress came with a price. The same factories that lifted millions from poverty also darkened skies and poisoned rivers. The same machines that brought comfort also brought weapons. The same innovations that connected us also threatened to consume the natural world. So why did the Industrial Revolution change the world? Because it didn't just transform technology, it reshaped humanity. It altered where we live, how we work, what we value, and how we see the future. It taught us that human ambition, when fueled by invention, has no limits, but also no brakes. It gave us power, but asked us how we would use it. Today, we live in the shadow of that revolution. Our smartphones, our cities, our cars, our hospitals, our economy, they all owe their existence to the sparks that flew in 18th century factories. And as we face new revolutions, digital, genetic, environmental, we must remember the lessons of the first. That progress is not just about speed or scale, but about wisdom. That innovation must be guided by compassion, and that even the smallest invention in the right hands can change the course of the world. Because in the end, the Industrial Revolution was not just a chapter in history, it was the beginning of the modern story, and that story is still being written.